Welcome to the Reporters Square Table presented by Lending Tree. I'm Matt Rochinski, joined as always by the voice of the Charlotte Hornets, John Folke, as well as Hornets.com beat reporter Sam Perley. And we've got a special guest again for you guys this week. We keep loading them up with stars. This time we've got former Charlotte Bobcat and current Fox Sports Southeast analyst and Duke fan, apparently, kind of showing us the shirt. Gerald Henderson. Gerald, great to have you on, man. How you been doing?
I've been doing great, man. I've been doing great. How about you guys?
I've been doing all right. I think that we're all trying to get through this one step at a time and, learning some new skills as well as, just kind of coming up with some great content to be able to show with, all of our Hornets fans out there. It's been great. So I got a question for you, though, to start, Gerald. We know that we've been having to find new hobbies and doing everything. I got to imagine, do you have like a par 3 course set up in your backyard at some point right now just so you can make sure you're still getting out there and getting hacks on the golf course?
Well, I get out in the backyard. I certainly do that on sunny days or when I'm with the kids. But I'm actually a member out at Carmel Country Club. So I've logged quite a few rounds here in these last 3 months, probably close to, I don't know, 20, 25, something crazy. Gotten a lot of practice in. Golf's been open over these last 3 months, so I've been out there quite a bit.
What about you guys, Sam? I know we've talked to you about some different things you've been doing. Over the course of the last month, we haven't had a check-in. Any new skills you're picking up, or do you want to get some golfing tips from Gerald?
I can honestly say I've never golfed before, except in like a driving range a couple of times and at Top Golf before. So that's kind of the limit to my golf. In terms of what I'm doing, a lot of it's kind of just the same. It's I've been watching a lot of, as part of work stuff, but also watching a lot of the 2K League. I think I've kind of found I've been kind of fascinated with that and watching it even on the nights when our team, Hornets Venom, isn't playing. It's kind of been a nice little outlet to learn about and study and familiarize myself with something that I don't know too much about. I've also kind of made it a goal to start searching out some old classic movies that I have not seen before. It's kind of, as John and I was texting about, I've never seen Back to the Future, so I was texting him the other night about it, and just weird things like that. I think now's the time to see these movies that I've never seen. Everyone's got a few of those, whether it's Star Wars, something like that they've never seen. So I'm trying to search out movies I've never seen before that everybody has seen. So, and I've annoyed John about it the last couple of days with Back to the Future stuff. So that's kind of what I've been preoccupied with the last couple of weeks.
I love it, man. I've actually been watching Back to the Future too. We just watched Back to the Future Part 2 last night because I had the girls all sit down and watch Part 1, and they're like, "Oh, this is fun." So we're going to have Part 3 lined up probably this weekend. We'll see how.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
What about you, John? What are you doing to keep busy these days?
Well, I've been trying to answer Sam's questions about Back to the Future 2, but I haven't seen it in like 25 years. So last night he kind of led me down a rabbit hole, and I finally had to just tap out. Like, Sam, I don't remember what happened in that movie.
Exactly what happened.
I probably only saw it once. We've been getting out more. We obviously love the outdoors. So, as parks have started to open up, we've been finding different trails and trying to get to different areas within the state of North Carolina and explore, get out on the bikes a little bit. And as Gerald's been working on his golf swing, I found a special talent that I did not know I possessed. I am awesome at washing dishes. Like, I am an all-star dishwasher here. So it is amazing, number one, how many dishes we go through. So not only am I great at washing the dishes, I'm great at loading the dishwasher. I'm great at unloading the dishwasher. This is something that I never thought that I would excel at, but I mean, if there's a competition, I'd be a world champion dishwasher right now.
Gerald, man, you got anything else that you're learning, something like that you picked up on? I didn't know I could do this.
Well, we got a little Pomeranian just around Christmas time who, like, I didn't want to get. We more got it for the kids. His name's Mango. And, he's still not potty trained well. So I kind of gave up and just figured out that the kids are not going to take care of this dog like he needs to be taken care of. And so me and Mango have become really close. I make sure that he gets his food on time, make sure he goes outside on time, and he gets groomed really well. So that's my new buddy. So I'm a good dog groomer and, pretty good at dog training now at this point.
This is working out well. So Folky can help you with any dog tips you need, and Gerald can help all of us with any golf tips we might need. So I don't know what I can help you with or what Sam can help you with, but we'll figure something out, I'm sure, at some point in time. So for you, Gerald, I got to wonder, you're relatively new to the broadcast still, only a couple of years in on all of this stuff. During this hiatus, is there a chance that you've been looking back at old games or kind of studying up anything? What do you do to try and get yourself ready once we get back to having basketball in some way, shape, or form?
They've played a few old Hornets games that I've seen myself on, watched a few of those. But what I've tried to do is try to stay occupied with things like this. And when I'm speaking in them, kind of speak like I'm on the air. I don't know if this is the right attire for Hornets pregame live, but, I've tried to be sharp in everything that I do and talking, and because it's different than just regularly FaceTiming or, how being on the air is. So it's a different feel. It's different than just talking to your buddies. There's cameras you got to worry about. And so you can get caught up in something like this and just kind of hanging out or, doing your regular talk when I try to use it as a tool kind of to stay sharp. So it's funny you mentioned that because as I started these Zoom kind of conferences, I noticed myself when they're recorded, I'm like, dang, man, you look like a slob a little bit. You can stop digging in your ear. You know what I'm saying? That's some of the things I've been focusing on definitely when I'm doing these kind of calls.
That's a great point that we've all had to learn kind of Zoom etiquette in this case. Yeah. What are some things you guys have learned? Sam, is there something that you say, hey, I keep screwing this up every time?
Now that he mentions it, now I'm trying to go back through all these Zoom calls I've had and thinking did I do anything weird? Was I touching my ear or drinking or anything? So now I'm going to be really self-conscious about it. But hopefully my Zoom etiquette is good now where I don't have to think about it. If I want to, I've been pretty good about if I want to do something or leave or go to the bathroom, turn the camera off, turn the mic off, and make sure I don't do anything that could be heard by hundreds of people. So now he's got me thinking. Now I'm kind of freaking out. Am I doing something that's going to get pulled?
You got some on your face, man.
What about you, John? Anything you've had to learn doing this stuff?
No, I actually have spent the last couple of days going back and watching some of our games on the Fox broadcast because I haven't had an opportunity really to sit down and watch Eric and Dell call a game. I mean, I get to watch them all the time because they're right down the table from me or sitting in front of me or behind me. And so I've been around those guys calling a game, but I haven't really sat down and watched start to finish and listened to Eric and Dell call a game. And it's so much fun. And then just going back and watching, of the final 8 games that the Hornets played, JB talked about this a lot, about how good they were offensively, how good they were defensively. And so going back, knowing the numbers and kind of remembering the games, but really sitting there and having a chance to watch not just the ball, because when you're calling a game, especially on radio, you're following the ball all the time. But when I get to sit and watch, you see all the different player movement and you see how this team was getting better. Guys were cutting off ball, the way they were running pick and roll, and just the aggressiveness of certain guys getting into the paint. And so I've been spending a lot of time doing that and bringing out some of my boards from those last couple of games and, muting Eric and Dell for a quarter maybe and making my wife listen as I call the game, and she just loves that. So it's been a fun way to stay sharp. It's also been a fun way just to go back and familiarize yourself with the guys that you haven't seen now, 2+ months. In the event that, hey, we got to get ready for some games, it's good to be able to see the guys and identify the guys a little bit. And it's just super fun listening to Eric and Dell. And Gerald, on NBA.com on the League Pass, they don't have the pregame show, so I haven't caught any of you yet. But if you've got it, send some tape my way.
I guess the pregame show's not that important, but I'll never believe that.
We don't
I'm
believe
with you. I'm
we
with
know
you.
you're important.
Thank you.
You're definitely important to us and to all of our Charlotte fans out there, for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Speaking of that broadcast, how has it been working with Eric and Dell for you and Ashley, the whole Fox team, Gerald?
It's been great. It's really been great. We have a great crew. Dell's somebody who I've known, since I was a kid, knowing him and Stefan. Me and Stefan are the same age. But I've learned so much from Dell and just watching and listening to him. During the games, we'll go off the air as soon as the game starts, but I like to listen in to the game. I don't even like to go in and sit and watch. I like to go in and watch the telecast because I like to hear what's going on. I steal stuff from him that I may use on air at halftime or after the game, or, just kind of see how he delivers the game to the people, because I have ambitions to be in his role as an analyst during the game. So
that's one thing we're all learning in these Zoom calls too, is what ends up happening when we get interrupted.
I'll call you back, Mom. But Eric Collins is special. He has so much energy on the air. So funny too. So these guys are great, and Ashley, working with her, she's the sweetest girl you could ever work with. She's young and she's learning as well, but she's picked up. I mean, we've been doing the show 2 years or so now, and she's improved so much over time. So she's a real joy to work with. So it's been a great experience. I mean, our pre-show production meetings are always funny. We keep it loose and we like to have a good time, but everyone's always really prepared, and I think we deliver a good show.
Yeah, you guys are definitely fun to watch. It's too bad. We'll make sure we get you some of those cuts, Folky, because, I remember covering this guy on the court, and to see you on the other side of the camera, it's just tremendous to see the job you're doing and the work you're getting done, man. You're very got great charisma up there too, and really know what you're talking about, to get that player side of things. It's really important to see.
Thank you.
So from that player side of things, let me just ask you, this experience right now that these guys have been going through, what do you think it's been like for them as players as they've gone through all of this?
I'm sure it's been tough, especially, not just like if we're talking the whole NBA, especially some of these teams that are going to compete for a championship this year. I can only imagine, what it's like kind of just taking a pause, especially if some of the teams probably that were playing well are gearing up for the playoffs. It's probably been tough, because you try to stay in shape. There's no way you can stay in real shape. You can do as much as you can, but there's no way if you can't play or you really can't get up and down unless you got a court at your house or somewhere that's completely safe. These guys, I'm sure to a certain level, just really want to be out there. So, it's probably been a very tough thing. I'm sure it would have been tough for me as a player. And now it'll be even tougher because, look, there's some players out there that are looking forward to the summer, right? So now, they'll be cutting into their summertime, and, who knows how long the summer will last or when they'll start next season. But, if you can't hoop and you want to hoop, this is a tough time, I'm sure, for a lot of guys.
Yeah, Gerald, you make a great point. And Sam, do you think, when these guys get back out on the court, do you think it's going to be more difficult to adjust to this physically, getting back into shape, or mentally having to get back into that mindset of playing games that matter?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's a little bit of each. I think physically there's a lot of game reps, and to what extent some of these guys, we don't know how the season's going to play out, but are you going to get real game reps, and how long are we going to be able to do scrimmages, 5-on-5 in practices? Right now it's kind of just one-on-one drills. And is it, picking up plays again, picking up physically? I mean, I think it's a tremendous amount of each. And I think we think it's going to be more physical, in terms of getting it back. That's what's going to take the longest. But mentally, I mean, going from 2 or 3 months, some of these guys have not shot a basketball just for whatever reason in a long time, and just sort of that mentally getting outside your comfort zone, doing something different, I think is going to take a lot of perseverance, maybe almost as much or more than the physical side. It's a really interesting kind of, reimmersion back into the sport after so much time off.
Yeah, and I wonder, John, if, when these guys do come back after all this last dance that we were able to see, you think we're going to see a more aggressive NBA with all these players having seen how they used to play?
I think pacing themselves aggressively is going to be a big key, because to Sam's point, it's been a couple of months since you played a game, and all these guys, Gerald, you know this, everybody in the NBA is incredibly competitive. And so you're going to roll the ball out there. Everyone's going to want to go hard, and they're going to want to make up for lost time. So I think, being able to pace yourself competitively, pace yourself mentally is going to be big, because you don't want to go too hard, risk an injury. You don't want to go too hard, burn yourself out. And so I think that's going to be really a big key in how these guys come back, mentally being able to kind of ease themselves into it. And the other thing, too, that's going to be fascinating, just like the rhythm of a season, right? Like, to Gerald's point, in the summertime, you're in off-season mode. Then in the fall, you start to kind of get yourself mentally prepared for training camp. You go through training camp. You get into the thick of the season. There's that excitement level at the beginning. Then there's the middle part where you've got to stay locked in through the ups and downs of the quote-unquote dog days. Then you start gearing up for the postseason, and you're peaking mentally if you're a playoff team right around this time, especially those teams that are going to be in the postseason. For other teams that haven't made the postseason or weren't in contention for the postseason, you're looking at June and you're saying, okay, well, this is off season. Now I'm going to be working on things. So from a mental side, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys kind of have to retrain their minds that, hey, June and July is not off season. June and July is going to be a possible preseason into whatever is next for the NBA.
You guys all make tremendous points, and so I want to bring it back to Gerald from a player perspective too. Do you think, listening to all this, do you think it'll be easier for the younger guys to kind of get back into the swing of things, or for the older veterans to get back into the swing of things?
I'd say definitely the younger guys. They're so much more acclimated to, playing so much more throughout a year. If it's not in college, right, you're still working out harder probably than you would in the NBA in college. You're playing pickup, things are still regimen. Your workload is way higher than you are in the pros. Even before then, you're playing AAU where it doesn't stop, right? So, you're in a period now where younger guys, if they were in high school, they'd be playing AAU right now, like heavy, which they're probably looking forward to more than anything during their year. So I think it's easier for them. Their bodies can pop back. A guy like a LeBron, who's gearing up now for, a part of the season that, he's known for, for him, it's tough. He's probably had to really maintain his body, and, I'm sure he's gotten in the gym and worked out, but I guaranteed he's spent 70% of his time just taking care of his body, making sure he's in shape, because, one little injury here or there in the playoffs can set any team back. If it's LeBron James, it changes the course of history, So, I think the veteran guys will be affected more. I think the coaches, the training staffs will be way more cognizant and careful with those guys and bringing them back, knowing that, if they're very important to the team, you don't want to rush them back or play them too many minutes. And they're kind of working them into shape will be of higher importance than it probably ever has.
These are tremendous points, and thank you guys all for kind of giving us insight on that. Now, as we look towards what's happening now, let's go back for a second, because you talked about those Hornets Classic games that are being broadcast. Right now, we're seeing quite a few on Fox Sports Southeast. They're going on Fridays and Sundays, so we'll have one this Sunday as well. Has it been fun for you to go back and watch, Gerald, some of these classic games and see some of these older guys getting after it?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. I mean, you got I consider myself now an older guy, but you got guys older than me. I mean, I was a rookie with Matt Carroll and Nazi Muhammad, who I play golf with almost like once a week now. You know, and even older guys, Gerald Wallace. You got, you know, and then you have the real classic games with like Muggsy and Alonzo Mourning. And the Hornets have history, you know, even if it's not championship history. You know, they have history here that the town and the city really resonates with. That's why they wanted to bring the team back here, the name back here. And so it's pretty cool to see those things. And they had some really good teams, some really good players. So it's been cool watching those things. And I see all those players all the time. I see Alonzo Mourning all the time in the summertime at different golf tournaments and stuff, and Muggsy as well. So it's pretty cool.
All right. Well, I got one last question for Sam and John right now, since we do have Gerald on here. I think we need to get a Gerald Henderson Classic game up there on Fox at some point in time. I mean, I'm just looking back and thinking maybe that career-high 35 against Boston on March 3rd, 2013. What do you think? Do you think that we need to see some Hendo highlights?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to see some Matt Carroll highlights as well, of course, my broadcast partner. So if we can intertwine some Gerald Henderson and some Matt Carroll highlights, I am all for it.
What about you, Sam?
I think that's a good one. I think what came back to me immediately was my my intern year, which was a 14-15. I think it was Gerald that hit a game winner maybe on our last home game against Philadelphia. Does that sound right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. I like kind of a low scoring game, like April 2015. So that could be another fun one to revisit.
I think it's great. I think we would love to see him, Gerald. Let's make that happen, man. So
let's do it.
All right.
Well, I'll get on the email tonight and see if we can shake something up.
Thank you very much. Well, this has been awesome catching up with all of you guys as always. Thank you guys for taking the time to sit down and talk with us. We look forward to seeing things get going again eventually here in the NBA as things kind of get closer to amping up. We're all excited about it, and we'll see how things kind of shake out. But we'll make sure that we catch up with you again at some point in time. And maybe we need to set up like a 2-on-2 broadcasters game, and we get, let's see, we've got Gerald Henderson, we've got Matt Carroll, we've got Dell Curry, and then we've got John Folke. So, John, I don't know exactly whose team we got to put you on. Maybe Dell, because Dell, Matt, they're both incredible three-point shooters, but all you got to do is dish it to Gerald, and he's going to beat both.
Whichever one has a stronger back and can carry me, that's what team you put me on.
All right. This has been great. Thank you guys again for joining us. For John Folke, for Sam Perley, and for Fox Sports Southeast, Gerald Henderson, I'm Matt Roczynski from Hornets.com. Thanks for joining us on the Reporters Square Table presented by Lending Tree.